What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking out for the future. I'm also going to break down how NIO's earnings actually went, how NIO's share price did end up moving, and what could end up playing out for tomorrow based on what's going on, as we have a massive day for tomorrow as Jerome Powell is speaking. So I'm going to break down what on earth Jerome Powell may end up saying, how this may affect the markets, when is he going to be speaking, what on earth could end up playing out for NIO for tomorrow. And before I break anything down about earnings and Jerome Powell speaking, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Don't take any of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is, out of these 12 free stocks, one of them can be a free Apple share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 10 days. So please check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So looking at NIO, this thing was up about 3.07%, at least as of right now. It's actually pushing up a bit, getting very close to that 200 EMA. I want to talk about what NIO ended up doing. So very crazy price action that happened. NIO basically crashed into open down here. It basically gapped down like this to $16.54 a share. And that's exactly where, or very, very close to where my support zone was for NIO. Then we got a big push all the way up to about 18.37. So huge push to the upside. But after that, we ended up coming down, trading sideways from there. And we were basically treating the 200 EMA as resistance. So after that, that did have a big effect on NIO. I want to talk about how on earth this actually happened and what on earth NIO really talked about on their earnings report. So let's actually go back right over here. NIO mentioned some very important things. They're talking about the fact that the rest of the year is going to be a very critical period for the EV maker, as their ES7 SUV and ET5 sedan are going to be starting deliveries relatively soon. They are talking about the fact that the supply chain is still, leading to many difficulties and obstacles for them, but they're working very hard to get around that. They're also very excited about the new changes to the audits that are going on, and they're very open to those changes just like that. They're mentioning the fact that they still have very, very ambitious goals, and the competition between them and other companies out there will really push them up. But the biggest issues for them for the year that they addressed were supply chain constraints and the lockdowns in China. So those were very, very important. They did end up hurting their profits to some degree, but they did mention that they believe these things will be temporary and they will make a big comeback after that. So if we look at their Q2 earnings, they delivered 25,059 EVs according to the report, a 14% increase year over year, and that's still actually not that bad considering the fact that they had the big lockdowns in China for over 2 months that really slowed everything down, and yet they still did better than last year. It really shows how great the company is. The ES8 had 3.6 thousand deliveries, ES6 about 10,000, EC6 about 4.7 thousand, and finally the ET7 at about 6.7 thousand. Once again, not bad. The sales rose 21% year over year, and you can see right here there's a bit of an increase in different productivity measures, but they did see a bit of a decrease in their margins. So that's the very important thing. Now, what I was trying to mention is the revenue of $1.5 billion is still growth year over year, but a bit of a drop relative to their first quarter. And we can see right over here, costs did become a little bit more expensive. They did lead to a widened loss to about $411 million, which was actually a little bit higher than Q1. So right now, they're very focused on the second half of the year. They're going to push very hard for the last quarter, and they believe it's going to be much better for them. They did mention the fact that the ET7 setting sail in Europe in August, it will help them, their customers experience better growth and better products, and they are still projecting immense growth from there. So once again, pretty good report overall. It wasn't like horrible, it wasn't great either. It was just pretty all right, pretty good, I guess. And we could see the numbers broken down right over here from Earnings Whisper. We could see the second quarter, June 2022 loss, and so this is for the second quarter, was 25 cents per share, and the revenue was 1.5 billion. Once again, not necessarily that bad on revenue. The earnings per share was a little bit of a miss, not that great overall. Now, they do expect that the third quarter is going to see even better revenue, over 2 billion, and they do think we're going to see a better earnings per share, and I think that's most likely going to happen. I do believe that Q3 is going to be much, much, much better. Now, considering the way NIO is moving in a very volatile price action, tomorrow is also going to be crazy and very volatile in the very beginning of the market hours, because at 9:10 a.m. Eastern time, Chairman Jerome Powell from the Fed is going to be speaking. He's going to talk about the changes to monetary policy by the Fed and how these things will affect the markets and what their future plans and ambitions are really to deal with inflation from here. So I'm going to be very interested in what he ends up saying. One thing that does concern me, though, is the last time he spoke, the market did end up kind of crashing after he spoke, because he did end up being a lot more hawkish than a lot of people would have wanted him to be. That's because of the fact that the Fed is in a position where they really need to tighten their policies to really bring down that inflation. And the next CPI that's coming out next week is going to be very telling of how that's actually going. So be on the lookout for that. As far as NIO's price action, just to make this clear, I do believe that we're going to move based off what Jerome Powell says. I can't really give you guys a perfect prediction because it depends on what he says. If he says something very negative, or it's something that's interpreted as negative to the markets, the whole market could take a hit. And if that happens, NIO has those support zones at 17.37, 17 flat, and 16.5. And we actually touched 16.5 today. And if that doesn't hold, then I'd be watching for 16.12. Now, let's just say hypothetically, Jerome Powell ends up speaking, the whole market starts to rally for the rest of the day. NIO has the potential to push all the way up to that 18 mark as resistance. If it breaks past that, 18.4 to 18.5, very, very key resistance. We could end up touching that range right there. So my best thing to tell you guys is be prepared for tomorrow. I mean, I can't make a prediction because it depends on what Jerome Powell says. It really does. It's very important that you're well aware of this. You could even watch on their website or even on the internet on YouTube. So please, guys, be ready. Be ready for what he has to say. I expect lots of volatility and remain calm, cool, and collected. The last thing I want to talk about is this right here. NIO has more numbers on their NIO Global Twitter page. And you can see right here, revenue of 1.5 billion, not necessarily bad, 21.8% increase year over year. And then for Q3, they're expecting better amounts of deliveries. This is actually higher than the expectations from Deutsche Bank. And I do anticipate more and more increases in deliveries and better earnings to come very, very soon. With that said and done, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Be ready for tomorrow. It may be a roller coaster in the very beginning, but you guys know the drill. We have to remain calm, cool, and collected. We have to do what we deem is best, watch our indicators carefully, and do what you have to do, all right? So remember, do not chase. You must hunt for good plays, good moves, and good moments to either buy or sell or get into calls, puts, spreads. It's really up to you. Thank you all so much for listening. Be ready for tomorrow. Expect lots of volatility. Watch support and resistance, and I'll see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon because the long-term future is bright, and peace out.